Okay, guys. This might be like the first time I ever asked TikTok for help, but like I'm looking for 3 specific people that are from my childhood, from like second grade to like the second half of first grade to the first half of second grade to the second half of second grade. That's really difficult because I lived in Wyoming and Oklahoma during those entire times. In the first half of first grade, I lived in Colorado. But I'm like, sometimes I really don't be thinking about these people, but sometimes, like, out of nowhere, like, they just come into my brain and I'm like, what the heck? But basically, if these people ever come across this video, just know that, like, I just want to say thank you for being my best friends, because, like, these people got bullied for being friends with me because in Wyoming and Oklahoma, I was, like, literally the only Asian person, and they would get bullied for being friends with me and still would stand up for me and still choose to be friends with me. And I think it's crazy. I found one friend from Wyoming, and I'm not gonna say her name, but I finally found her and I was like, thank the fucking Lord. But okay, it's actually 5 people. So in Wyoming at ARP Elementary School, I'm like, do these people even exist? But I know for a fact they did. So I remember their last names and everything. Like, that's weird. Okay, so there was a David and there was a Joel from ARP Elementary. I already found my best friend that I told you about just now. That went to ARP Elementary in Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Okay. And for the people that do know what I'm talking about, and if they are these people, my mom had that donut shop that was she worked at the donut shop that was Chinese food and Daylight Donuts in Cheyenne, Wyoming, with the apartments behind them. But anywho, okay, so it was David and Joel that I'm looking for. I'm not gonna say their last names because I don't want to like freak them out. But they went to elementary school, they went to ARP Elementary School, and then the 3 people I'm looking for at Hoover Elementary. I mean, there's kind of 4 people, but I don't really remember the other person. But I really don't want to out her for what she did as like a person in elementary school. But Alicia, she had blonde hair. Our teacher was Miss House, by the way. Anyways, Miss House, and she used to pull out her hair. She had like I don't want to out her about like her habits when she was a child, because she probably doesn't do this anymore. But she had the bad habit. It's called like a specific syndrome, but like I only learned about it when I got older because I had like thought about her. But is it trichotillomania? I don't know what it is. But she would cut her hair and pull out her hair, and I would get so frustrated at her because I would tell her her hair is so beautiful, but she had blonde hair. Anyways, her name's Alicia. And then I'm looking for Stage, and that sounds really weird, but I remember she stood up for me, and she had like 3 best friends, and one of them was Aria or something, and they would bully the frick out of her and the frick out of me because I was the only Asian in both Wyoming and Oklahoma. But like in Oklahoma, they bullied me for the food that I brought to school, because they would just be like, ew, like, what is that smell? And it was fish sauce. And then the egg noodles looked like worms, so they would just like make fun of me left and right. And they would also be upset because I basically stole their friend from them. But her name was pronounced Stage, but it was spelled Staig. And she was the one that taught me how to swim. And she also saved me from drowning on her birthday party. But anyways, okay, I remember too much. Anyways, and then there was a person that I used to always ride the bus with. And I was like a really fast person at running. I don't know how to say that, I guess. Yeah, I was really fast at running, okay? And we would, like, at recess, we would have races and stuff. And I would always win. And, you know, like, they would always say, like, she's a girl that nobody can beat. And I know, flex. But anyways, the person that I would always see at recess was the one that I rode the bus with. And he was in 5th grade. His name's Brandon. And he went to Hoover Elementary. Hoover Elementary in Enid, Oklahoma. And I don't remember his last name to save my freaking life, but he got bullied for being friends with me too. Not only because he was in 5th grade and I was in 2nd grade, but he would still choose to defend me and himself. And he'd be like, you know, these are my own decisions. And like, even though we were in 5th grade, we were in elementary school, like, these people actually made my life a lot better. And yeah, so we would always like, I guess if this person comes across the video, like, there's a certain memory that might trigger you to remember who I am, I guess. But we were playing hacky sack. He was trying to teach me how to play hacky sack, and I couldn't figure it out. So I told him, let's just hit the hacky sack towards the garage. And my grandma came out looking crazy before the bus came to the house, and she yelled at the both of us. And I just remember grabbing his hand and we ran away. I don't know. My grandma was yelling at us, and I remember he asked me, like, who is that? And I was like, that's my grandma. We gotta go. And so, yeah. But anywho, we always sat at the back of the bus. But he was in 3 grades above me. And then there's actually one more person. So I don't remember her name either, but I always hung out with Alicia, her, and somebody else when I lived in Wyoming. After Sage left, because I remember Sage was like, I'm leaving because my dad got a job in California. Anyways, so irrelevant. And I'm like 23, and this was like more than 14 years ago. But like, these people be living in my consciousness, like, just in the back of my mind, and sometimes I just think about them. But anyways, so this girl, she was like a badass. And I remember one time I touched her on on her right shoulder, and she flipped me over because she knew karate. And so I don't know how to explain this. I had a wild childhood, but we were at recess and she flipped me over and she was like, sorry, I thought you were like somebody else. And she was telling me like how she knew karate and like self-defensive tactics and stuff, and I became friends with her. But I remember in grade school, she would always have her hair like back like this, and it would be in the longest braid ever. And like, this braid was past her butt. But her ethnicity is Latina. And I can't remember her name to save the life of me. But, yeah, those are the people that I want to find. Please, TikTok, please help me. And if you don't want to help me, that's fine. I just want to put it out in the air that these people really impacted my life and actually helped me during really hard times when my parents had divorced. Anyways, I'm gonna go now because this is freaking weird.